Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Lottie Hedden. I'm a Senior Director of Customer Success here at Postscript, and I'm very excited you're joining us today for our top requested webinar topic, list growth. Our panelists today are true acquisition pros, and we'll be talking about why they do such ongoing and significant growth to their list, or why they see, rather, such ongoing and significant growth to their list. But before we dive into the good stuff, I want to do some super quick housekeeping. We're going to do 2 quick poll questions, and if you could please weigh in, that would be super helpful, and it'll help us guide our content around that. We want to make sure we're prioritizing questions that align to what our listeners want to hear. So first off, where do you consider yourself on the list growth scale? Are you a beginner? Are you an intermediate? Are you an expert? Looks like we've got some hedging. No one wants to commit to saying they're an expert, but luckily we've got some experts here to talk to you all. So maybe by the end of the day, we will have shifted this up a bit, but a nice split between people who are early on in that journey and still trying to learn. Ooh, some experts in the audience. I love to see that, but a nice range. We will have plenty of advice for all today. Second question, do you know what on-site opt-in is? People are thinking, yes, I love this. Okay, we've got some on-site opt-in users in the audience, some people who are, they've heard of it, maybe they're thinking about it, some people who are definitely going to be excited to learn more about what this is. I love to see that we've got the majority of people who are already live with on-site opt-in. It's an awesome feature. And for those of you who didn't just give a clear yes that I'm using it, there is some extra good stuff coming for you today. We will definitely be giving a quick overview of on-site opt-in later in the webinar. All of the brands on this call are on this panel rather, are using it, but more in that in a moment. So first off, intros. Really excited about this group today. We've got Bryce Raddick. He is the retention lead at Caraway. If you're not familiar, Caraway is a leading kitchenware brand known for its stylish, non-toxic, and eco-friendly cookware and bakeware products. We have got the cashback king himself, Isaac Mertens, who is the founder of Flux Footwear. Flux is known for its innovative, lightweight, and comfortable sneakers designed with an adaptable fit for everyday wear. And last but certainly not least, Nick Walter, VP of e-commerce from Groove Life. Groove Life produces adventure-inspired outdoor lifestyle product lines, including their signature silicone rings. Nick, we are going to kick it off with you today. We love to sort of start at the beginning, establish what you all do and where you were, or what the beginning of your SMS journey looked like. So talk to me a little bit about when SMS became an important channel for Groove Life.
Yeah, so back in 2018, around then is when SMS stood up to be its own channel. So we've kind of bounced around from a few different platforms before we came to Postscript. So we were with Klaviyo and then Attentive. And really one of the things that really drove us to Postscript was the TCPA guidelines and just support from a compliance standpoint to make sure we're compliant. SMS has really been a great channel for us for our loyal customers. We have customers that buy multiple rings, have multiple belts, believe it or not. And really you find those in our SMS channel. So as we have new products that come out, we'll see that channel really get hyperactive around new product releases. And, we do things there to give them early access a couple hours or the night before. We do product releases and as well as we do SMS sales as well.
Awesome. I love that. I am not surprised people have multiple belts. When people love a product, they go back for more. Bryce, same question for you. When did Caraway adopt SMS?
Yeah, pretty similar journey. I think we're like about a 4-year-old brand. I've been here for just over a year. And I know when the brand launched, they launched with Klaviyo as the ESP. We're doing, I think, a couple of sends over SMS, but wasn't a focal point very early on. I think moved over to Attentive, where we were for a couple of years, but moved over actually on my first week at Caraway, we moved over to Postscript, which was a crazy journey, but very exciting. A lot of enthusiasm from the team to make sure that we were really fleshing out SMS as a huge channel, as its own independent channel. And that's been, I think, a great journey. I've been super happy with the partnership. It's definitely been able to stand up SMS as a really core channel where we're beating out email in some months. and just continuing to grow it. I think like the promise of Postscript, like wanting to be your best marketing channel, is like being fulfilled pretty actively. So it's very, very cool to see.
I love that we've already gotten a Postscript mission statement plug, and I didn't even ask for it. Yes, we are big believers that SMS can and should be the #1 revenue channel for your e-com business. And it's amazing to hear brands like Caraway making that happen. Also, we've got first easy question in the chat that I know our marketing team will jump right on, but please dive in the chat. It keeps it fun. We'll do a Q&A at the end, but I'll snag quick ones live if I can. So definitely don't hesitate to throw things in there. This is as interactive as it can possibly be. So thank you all for participating in advance. All right. Isaac, can you talk to us about Flux's experience with SMS out of the gate?
Yeah, so we have not been on it as long as my two panelists. It was only about 9 months ago when we first started. We were just doing email. However, it just skyrocketed for us. We're actually kind of a cool case study. Within the first 3 months of launching, with literally zero participants or any list, we generated $1 million through SMS. So became a big believer really, really quick. And it's been like a really foundational channel. Primarily using it quite a bit with our cashback and fondue. And it just found an enormous amount of success through offering that. We primarily were doing, kind of the typical 10% off, and then made the move once I came to realize that fondue offered the cash back, and just the different opportunities of offering a gift card versus, that Visa card, and how that just ultimately resulted in 1, list growth, 2, revenue growth, and then 3, profit growth. And we do kind of marry up our SMS and email. Like we do dual sends with it. But again, like we're really starting to see that customers have preferences on if they want to do email or they're more SMS based. Our customer service lead, she's letting me know, like, it's crazy. People would are literally ask for questions, and so it's like a sales channel as customer service support channel. And it's just funny because like I never was like someone to use SMS. And then right when we started to adopt it, it's like now I'm signing up for other brands, and it's been really neat to see, I think, for myself, but then overall, I mean, we're just seeing explosive growth everywhere for SMS. This adoption has been really, really strong. So I think Flux luckily timed it well to get in right as it was really popping off, and we've been seeing great success with it.
Yeah, I love a lot of what you said in there. We obviously saw in the poll, there are a lot of people who are new to list growth. I'm sure there are people on the call who are new to SMS, and it's sort of not too late to start. And you can see with some solid strategies that rapid growth right out of the gates. And to your point, Isaac, like it's meeting people where they're at. Some people want to be on email, some people want to be on SMS. Your customers are going to have different desires and ways they want to engage with you, and honoring that for people is super important. All right. Well, thank you for a little bit of background on SMS at your all's brands. Very helpful sort of foundation for us. But now into list growth, why we're all here. Nick, I'm going to start with you. We're going to start with the most obvious approach to list growth, which is, of course, the pop-up. Talk to me about how you all are leveraging pop-ups at Groove Life for list growth.
Yeah, so we do a lot of testing within our pop-up. So our pop-up will be, the main lead generation of our list growth coming in. Some of the things we'll do is, like right now, if you go to our website, we're getting ready to launch a new product here in a couple of weeks. So we're actually doing a giveaway, so people can sign up for it as well as get a cashback offer as well. And they're entered into a drawing where every day we're picking 10 customers or prospects to win one of our new belts. So go and check that out. New product drops on April 3rd. So that's a fun way we do that. We've seen a lot of people entering in there. So that's a list that we're building out. That's really growing a lot faster. And we're also running Facebook ads running into that list as well for growing that list. So that's a fun way we've been doing it. And then, we'll be testing out different things between a pure discount code or the Fondue cashback. And I know we're going to talk about Fondue a little bit, but we found some great learnings and wins with Fondue when comparing it from a strict 20 or 25% off as well. So those are some of the different things we've been doing, but it's always about making sure we're A/B testing that pop-up.
Yeah, A/B testing is super important. I also love that you're thinking about different ways to bring people in through that pop-up that aren't just discount. We have a lot of merchants who don't just want to do a heavy discount to drive growth. And so product drops and early access information is huge. Bryce, how do you approach optimizing the pop-up? It's obviously a huge part of list collection for all of you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like pretty similar manner. I would say that ours in particular has been tested to death. It is continuous. It is something that we always do. We're always updating. Every little detail has been basically tested through A/B tests and through looking and seeing how things are shifting over time. We have, I think, essentially like two modes of pop-up. We have a very like evergreen mode where we have our kind of core free shipping offer. Then also we'll change it up for product launches, sales event launches, special offers like this one here. So it's a lot. It's constantly like, as much as like we're crafting an email calendar, as much as we're crafting an SMS calendar, we're also crafting a pop-up calendar. And even more because it's a really concerted effort with testing. I think in particular, it's really important for us to make sure that it's optimized because we're a very high consideration product. It's a higher price point than a lot of e-com that you're just casually shopping for online. So we have customers who visit our site 2, 3, 4 times before they're actually converting. And as we're able to inject different offers and different value props and different ways of expressing those in the pop-up, it just helps a ton to just message more and in a really, I think, natural way. And it's helped our list growth like exponentially. It's been a really great thing since we moved over to the PostScript one in particular.
Love that. And some themes of testing. And we've got some A/B questions in the chat, which we will definitely make sure we go a bit deeper on that on this webinar. So stay tuned for more there. Nick, do you have any key takeaways when it comes to optimizing your pop-up?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one is like the thing that I've always been curious that a lot of things you don't expect to win. So I think that's always been like a key takeaway for me is like with that testing is some of the things that you think might not win, they usually do end up winning, surprisingly enough. So always be curious to test different things because you would be really surprised. Some of the other things we've looked at is obviously, I think Bryce mentioned it, like everyone has personal preferences. Like there's your email and your SMS. I always look at SMS as like it's much more personal because you are giving permission space for your phone, where my email inbox is a mess. Like my personal one is just a hot mess. Like it's just, I've opted into all this stuff and you just want to clean it. And that's a lot of consumers out there. So I'm really particular about who I give access to for my SMS. So you want to make sure you're really providing that content for them, not being super sales heavy, but you have that additional value you're providing them versus just where, email you're blasting and sending out. So that's the big thing with SMS for me is making sure you're providing a better experience than email because it's a different type of consumer because they've given you that permission space to text them on their phone and it's really easy for them to take it away.
It's almost like its own type of VIP list. It is in someone's pocket. It's right in their face. It's the most personal channel for sure. I really appreciate. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really appreciate what you said about you're surprised by what wins when you test things. And I think it can be intimidating to take that leap into something new, especially if something is working. And I think testing removes a lot of that unknown and that fear. And I appreciate that call out of you've been surprised. You've seen things win you thought would lose.
Yeah, I think the last piece to add on there is just like the journey with SMS. Like since we've partnered with PostScript and we've added on SMS sales in the fall of last year, but obviously we all know like, you have 100 people opt in that day. Well, not all 100 are ordering that day. So SMS sales allowed us to provide that personalized white glove touch. We do have some of our products are a little bit more pricey with a wallet, so it does take a little bit more consideration. So they're able to kind of be that sales rep to provide that extra care for them to help guide them through the sales journey. Ask those questions that they're not there to look at, feel, or touch. Kind of very similar to like what Bryce is probably feeling like, talking about pans. So they're able to kind of get them over the finish line where they might not read something on the website.
Totally. People have a lot of questions they want to know. Bryce, I'm going to throw a quickie to you from the chat before we move on to our next topic, because it builds off of some of what you shared with your examples. But Christina was asking for when you do a free gift over a certain price point, after you bring someone in through the pop-up in that way, are you doing anything specific in your postscript flow that follows that, or any learnings from that sort of broader experience once you have the collection after the pop-up?
Yeah, so I would say that generally, like, that's when we do that, it's tied to a site-wide offer. So I don't know if like other people are actually doing this quite a bit, but we definitely use the pop-up a lot to just reflect what's actually happening on site as well, and just as a different touch point, because we want those signups. And it's I think a fresh way, instead of like a nano bar on the top of the site, or like modals in your catalog, to just surface that. So that's really site logic. But then when we do get that sign up, we are customizing, I don't remember what PostScript calls it, the response back, the opt-in response, to be very like specific to that offer, and make sure that people are, clicking that link to be retargeted back to the site. And then as well, like SMS sales helps us a ton. If you're not on that product yet, ask your rep immediately. But it's just like to have like actual people talking to your customers about that offer and about any other offers that might work. It's hugely valuable.
Yeah, getting people in and then also making sure they convert is super, super important. All right, we've already had some conversation and some chat about cash back, which I'm super, super excited about. But show of hands for our panelist, who is using cash back over coupons? All right, Isaac, I am going to tee you up first here. Talk to us a bit about your experience with cash back. I know it's been huge for your business, and it is a hot topic that I'm sure our listeners would love to hear more about.
Yeah. Really, really enjoyed it. Our experience so far. So like I said, initially we were doing kind of, the typical 10% off, was introduced to Fondue and really hadn't heard of that before. Like, you'd heard of the cash back if you bought an appliance or something from Whirlpool or something, and you'd have to mail it in and all this stuff. But when I found out there was, a method to do that, and I'm a pretty frugal guy, so I was always the one who cashed it in. So I was very aware of it. But when Oren, the founder, I jumped on a call with him, and he just was explaining the opportunity of what cashback can do from just a pure profit margin stance. I was super intrigued. So we did a lot of testing around like what's the right percentage. So we did like 15%, 20%, and 25%. And really what Oren is just a wealth of knowledge. One tip he gave us was it's the first number. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, like the 15% doesn't do a whole lot versus a 10. Like you have to get to that next integral up. So it'd be 20 or 30. So that was a really big learning, and that's kind of where we landed on 20%. And I guess for all you that don't know, I don't want to assume. So basically how it works is they select the cash back. If they select a discount code, it and the cash back, it overrides it. So like that was a big concern, is that they were getting the discount and the cash back, but it overrides it. So it chooses the cash back. They have to wait you set the policy. Our return policy is 30 days. So after 30 days, they can then redeem it for a Visa gift card just as good as cash, or you can have them redeem it for like your store's gift card. We offer an incentive. So we offer 25%. We've tested 30 and 25 ended up being the best. So they could get, more value if they get a gift card. For us, I'm more than happy to offer a higher percentage, because then we make that margin back up on the second purchase. Well, what's interesting is that they call it a deflection. Is 70% of people don't ultimately select the Visa gift card. So you're making up 70% of 70% of the margin, right? So either they're not selecting it, so after 30 days, they just kind of forget about it. And then the other is selecting a gift card. And like, I think we all wouldn't mind a second purchase. Again, you're eating some of that margin, but ultimately, yeah. So, but it is consistent over the last 9 months. It is literally every month, about only 30% select that Visa gift card. So while yes, it's a higher percentage, it ultimately results into about a 10%, the same dollar off as what 10% would be. But we've seen a much higher conversion rate because we're able to show off that 20% versus the 10%. So it's the same, I guess, margin of the 10% discount. However, we're generating a much higher revenue off that. And it's just, yeah, I do also think, like, another thought of mine was, is it a bad experience if they don't actually claim it? Where in reality, I don't think it is, right? Because I view it as an exchange, right? They're paying for something with an expectation that this product is going to do what we're saying it's going to do. And all three of us have amazing products, and and we're following through their promise, and many of, I'm sure, the viewers, you guys have great products as well, right? And if that transaction's met with that expectation, then there isn't the, well, I didn't ever get that 20% off or whatever. So that's, I guess, something to think about. And then the one thing, the one doc, and I've talked to Oren about it, and this is why I'm trying to be so convincing, is that the customer service and the confusion around cashback, that has been difficult because it just is a newer concept. They're expecting the 20% off versus the cashback. However, this is my pitch to you all, and Oren would give me a big old pat in the back. Just like I was kind of mentioning SMS being adopted much more frequently, and I'm now adopting it more. I think we're starting to see a lot of brands adopt it as well. Again, just as I'm scrolling on different brands, like, I'm starting to see this cashback offer versus we were pretty early, from my understanding of, actually they're a pretty young company, and I think we're 2 or 3 months from when they started. But I think once we start seeing this whole e-com space adopt that, and they're seeing it over and over and over, and they've had a positive experience with one brand, and then they have another cashback positive experience with another, they're going to share that with their friend. And and that's where I think more people do it. The one downfall I see from it is going to decrease in the amount of confusion in customer service tickets that we're seeing with it. So that's it. I think it's a rising boat. A rising tide raises all boats, where it's like the more it's adopted and the more people are used to it. There's very, very little downside to it. I think it's so neat that there's that flexibility of offering a gift card at a higher percent or whatever, or the cashback Visa. So that's my pitch on cashback. And I mean, we've just seen literally more dollars in our pocket. And again, we do offer codes for like influencers. So people can still get the discount if they would want at 10%, but we're seeing it work really well for us.
I love that. And I appreciate the overview because I do think it's a newer concept for a lot of people and people are eager to learn more about it and understand the benefit to margins. Some of your points around it lets you be more generous with your offer in a way that doesn't harm your margins or harm the how your brand feels about, discounting, and really ultimately fuel more of that list growth, which is, why we're here to chat today. And I love the plug that you can even, boost up an offer if someone wants a gift card and help lower CAC. All of that is really, really more relevant now than ever. So appreciate the walkthrough there. And yes, hopefully those support tickets continue to go down as there's more familiarity. Nick, I know you have also recently tried using cashback. How do you approach finding the right incentives when you're thinking about that subscriber acquisition?
Yeah, so it's as he was just saying, finding that different offer, and we'll test different things. 20%, up to 30%. Just looking between those different offers. And it is a different type of offer, as he mentioned, in terms of, there was a little bit of customer confusion out of the gate. But, a few things that we've found is that the cashback actually has a higher average order value. They are ordering more. And then the unique piece I've noticed in the data with the gift card redemption is how many people actually aren't redeeming it as well. So we're providing the opportunity for them to pick a gift card, either Visa or in store, but 55% of our people aren't picking anything. So it's a great conversation to have with our finance group because, they're like, hey, is this a program we should be looking at? I was like, well, let's flip it and pretend we gave everybody who just ordered here a 20% off code on our website. And then you can look at that discount. And they're kind of like, all right, that makes sense. Of why we would be doing this. And then we have 23% are picking the gift card to come back to our store later. So we're still looking and monitoring to test to see like, hey, what is that return rate? Obviously, we have a different type of product where you're not going to come back the next month. Like when you buy a belt, like you're good for a couple months, or a wallet, you're probably good for a year. So we kind of have a different type of product in terms of that, where they're not going to come back. But, I think the offer range that we're kind of leaning around is like 25% is kind of our sweet spot, is what we found in terms of great opt-in rates, as well as the best conversion rate for pull through on the website.
All good things we care about. And who doesn't love pleasing their finance team? That's always a nice little win and a hard win sometimes. All right. You all are obviously experts on list growth. Let's share some big overall gains you've had, some wins. People are curious in the chat. What's working? What are your learnings? So let's talk about an overall big win each of you have had for acquisition. Maybe it's something that surprised you and performed better than you expected. Nick, let's start with you.
Yeah, so we're doing some of this currently at Groove Life. But at a prior company, I worked for a beverage brand. So we were trying to figure out how do we capture our Amazon buyers. And obviously, we all know we have to be a little sneaky with Amazon because they don't want us to put marketing material in that. So for any of those who bought like a 6-pack or 12-pack off of Amazon, you have like your cardboard tray and then it's wrapped in plastic. What we did is we actually had these custom inserts that would go on the bottom of the trays, and they actually had QR codes on them. So the customers would take their product out of the tray, and there would be a QR code for another free product, a free gift, or a code to use in the future. And so we were doing a lot of volume through Amazon, and we were getting a ton of list growth through that. And what that allowed us to do is, we still complied with Amazon's rules. We carved that list out, and they were Amazon only. So anytime we had a new product drop on Amazon, anytime we're running promotion on Amazon, or we're just looking for a revenue bump on Amazon, we had this huge list growth that we grew through this QR code component to where we could send them an SMS. And that would drive volume to our Amazon channel. So we've been doing that at Groove Life. We have QR codes on our packaging. So I've kind of taken that through as a win and carried it through for other companies as well. But that was the biggest thing, because I was like, I wonder if they'll just like crumble up the cardboard and like throw it away. But we had a huge activation in terms of list growth with that. I hope Amazon's
awesome.
on this call. So.
Yeah, using those different sort of channels to fuel themselves too and create that flywheel effect is really, really compelling. Bryce, same question for you. Some best practices in terms of your big wins on list growth.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the biggest thing, for me, like I know a lot of brands obviously have loyalty programs, VIP programs, And those are really great for certain types of businesses. Like I said, we're a kitchenware company. Your first purchase is likely a cookware set, which is pretty big set, and you only have so much counter space in your actual kitchens. So it's not something that always makes sense to have a loyalty program site-wide. But the way that we kind of look at it holistically is that the people on our SMS lists are our highest intent customers. They're the most, if you look at a channel breakdown, they're the people with the highest LTV, AOV, all of like that good stuff. So we want to definitely reward them, and we use SMS as the means to do that where possible. So I think like a strong example is just our early access programs, early access to sales, early access to product drops. Those are huge moments for us. We're able to surface those across email to get signups, and those really signal to us who the customer that we should be really nurturing is. So yeah, this is an example from this year, this cyber season, for signing up for SMS, and we'll do different ones for basically any event possible. So that's been just huge. We do it on social as well. Just a ton of like positive benefits that I would say. I would also say that like another like best practice is just like making sure that your priorities are like sequenced correctly. I see a lot of brands who take email, maybe only take email, maybe take email first, SMS secondary. All of that is like testable within PostScript, so that you're able to say like, okay, on this device, we should lead with mobile, we should lead with email, like really test all that out, figure out like what works best for you, because just taking email first just because in your brain it's first isn't necessarily like the best thing, especially knowing how high intent the SMS group is.
Totally. How much money a phone number can be worth to your brand to not ask or to not try asking first, especially on mobile. We see a ton of success with that, and you can test that. Talk to your CSM, talk to our support team if you have questions, but I love that call out. It's super, super important. All right, Isaac, massive list growth win.
Yeah. So this was actually just kind of a recent thing that we'd done. And again, it's a pretty simple thing, was we were A/B testing having email be the first option that you sign up and then SMS, versus SMS and then inputting it on your inputting the email. I don't know, 95% of our traffic is mobile. And so we saw like a massive conversion rate when we had the SMS first, versus the email. So I mean, it was like 5% up to like 12% or something like that. Like, so it was super, super big. So just like even little things like that has been a really, really big driver for us in terms of, again, just getting that number. And like you said, it's a pretty valuable number to the business.
Totally. Love those conversion rates. Those are impressive. All right. We obviously, this webinar, a lot of what we're doing in our product, we are hyper focused on list growth here at PostScript. And especially lately, we launched on-site opt-in back in December, and it has had some really, really incredible results. For anyone that isn't familiar, and I know there were a handful of you in the poll earlier, we're going to quickly show a Groove Life example that walks through what on-site opt-in looks like. All right. I hope that that was exciting for those of you who are not familiar with on-site opt-in yet or aren't trying it yet. It is live in PostScript. You should check it out. We've talked a little bit today about cashback and just what the market is familiar with. That feature on my phone is my favorite feature across any product. And as a merchant, if you're looking to remove barriers to get people to sign up for your list, this is huge. And while it may seem new for the SMS marketing space, people love this. Everyone uses it. I use this every day across various apps. So it is really, really a game changer. We've seen amazing results from it. So check it out. These three are using it. It is awesome. All right, Nick, you have a heavy focus on growing your SMS list, seemingly over email even. This is often hard for merchants to sort of decide which to focus on. Where do you give more weight? We've talked a little bit about this with testing and what to put first and how to measure. Can you take us a little further on this topic? Talk a little bit about what list is more important to you.
Yeah, I mean, it is a constant daily struggle, right, for everybody as we go through this. So I think it's, a few things we look at, and I think it's also the journey that we've set up through. I think it's really important to think through that as obviously SMS, you can have, we all have our automation flows. Email, we have our automation flows. And I think the piece that really helps us think through the journey is the SMS sales that we have on there as well. Really kind of that extension. Even our CX team will get SMS messages that are not part of the SMS sales team. So we're even in there interacting with them. So the journey is a little bit more higher touch, more white glove than email. So I think that really helps. And I think it's all about the messaging that you can do in there. I think email, we've been doing email for so many years. And I think it's all of our emails, we're thinking, how can I be different than Bryce? How can I be different than Isaac? Like, you're always like, at the end of the day, there's only so much design you can do in there. But with the content in the SMS, it's like, hey, how do we have a little bit more conversational? How do we have a little bit more fun, a little tongue in cheek in there, laying in components into that make that value come through. Maybe they can have a good little chuckle in the SMS versus where email is like, oh yeah, there's another email. So I think that's the important piece with SMS, as well as I think, as we've all said here, is just we see more value with our SMS lists. They're more of a brand loyalist, and they're willing to buy multiple products anytime we launch something new.
Few things you said in there that I just adore. You can have fun on SMS in a way that feels so unique and special. And it also is a two-way channel. Email is really not a two-way channel. I mean, my email inbox is terrifying. And so I love that. Learn about your customers, meet them there, engage with them there, have fun with them there. Really, like, you can build that brand loyalty in really fun ways. All right, we just launched a new list growth page to help merchants determine where they are in their list growth journey. It is that same format you saw in the poll, to give actionable steps regardless of where you are. There are easy wins in there, including things like back in stock notifications. Those have a super high earning per message. Not surprisingly, QR codes, which I know Nick already talked about how powerful they've been for him previously. And we touched on a lot of ideas on this page. Giveaways, using your email list to convert to SMS. That one in particular is something that we definitely encourage here. Would love to talk with you all about using email to drive SMS subscribers. Bryce, I'll sort of start with you and your past experience with that lever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I kind of touched on it briefly earlier, but it's just making a moment when you have moments to make stuff out of. That's a very circular sentence, is just like very important. And I think like doing special offers, like letting people know that if you are a member of our list, our SMS list, you're going to get the best offers that we have to offer. Caraway isn't a brand that routinely discounts. We're very sparing and try to be really intentional about how we're doing it, who we're serving discounts to. So this is an example of, here's how you can get a discount before Valentine's Day. And you can really do this for any moment where it makes sense. I would also say another important email factor is the email footer, which isn't pictured here, but that's like the biggest focal point of our email footer is actually SMS opt-in. That's partially because you have to put a disclaimer on it, but it also like serves a strong purpose of really like drawing your eye to that, where like an email footer like is not someone's first, second, third, fourth, fifth highest intention thing when they're looking at an email, but it does convert. It does like help the overall ecosystem of, we want to support this channel. We prefer that people be on this channel. So how do we get people on this channel? How do we make sure that we're consistently messaging it? And email, as well as like everything else Lottie you mentioned, is just like another way for us to do that.
Totally. Love a compliance plug. Obviously very important in our space. So yes, it takes up a little room on the footer to make sure that we're behaving. But I think that point is often missed. I will often like audit sort of a merchant and just go and see, like, if I want to get on your list, can I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be very hard.
How many merchants it's hard to find. Yeah. Nick, anything you would add on this point?
No, I would just reiterate on the TCPA and the compliance piece. I think I've, unfortunately, through my 10 plus years, I've had a handful of situations, and it just seems like some people purposely go out of their way to find a brand that's not ready, and they'll hit you up with a lawsuit pretty quickly. And like, you guys have been very helpful with that. But back to the other topic is like, yeah, using the other channels, I would, echo the email piece. How can you cross promote on there? Email's been a good one for us too, is, you kind of add that section just at the end, or you have kind of a little bar at the top to help highlight SMS for early access and those types of things, where you kind of treat it as a VIP. So that's been very helpful for us as well.
Yeah. And you can do it on other channels too. Email is an easy one. And obviously the footer can be evergreen, but giveaways to your Facebook group, social, think about how you can sort of cross-pollinate across those channels to drive that list growth. There's a lot to do in there. And yes, Nick, another compliance plug. We are here to help. We are also here to protect proactively there. And there's some people who really look to find what isn't compliant. And so it's important to take it seriously, regardless of the size of your brand. I think that's a common misconception. Like, oh, they'll go for the big brands. Not necessarily true. All right. I believe this is the last one before we open it up to a broader Q&A. But I want to give you all sort of a flex moment. We might have one more after this. Biggest acquisition week ever. What were the numbers? What were you running in order to have such a huge lift? Isaac, you first.
Yeah, we actually just recently launched our trail runner. So for us, it was just a product launch that we were able just to generate like very significant growth and revenue. I'll make it quick, but I do think, like, we obviously had a really, really strong Black Friday, Cyber Monday week. But what was really interesting after, again, we had this one of our largest weeks ever about a month ago with the product launch. When we were comparing our numbers back to Black Friday, we ran a BOGO offer. So it was buy one, get one half off. And again, it was that guaranteed discount. And when I compared, and there were similar revenue numbers, and when I ran the ultimate like contribution margin / profit of those weeks, it was the trail launch, because we were just running that cash back versus that guaranteed buy one get one half off. Promise this will be my last final plug, but I just it was so interesting to me, and it's literally completely forcing me to rethink how and what our Black Friday offer is going to be, as well as just offer, like, we haven't run a single sale discount since then, because like it destroyed, like, it helped generate revenue, but it really hurt the bottom line in terms of just the overall profitability of it. So product launch was really, really big, and just like hearing, and that was a big thing our customers wanted. So
love that it also was something exciting that is just good for the brand, and not like, oh, we just did a huge discount and got
no, yeah, it was a product launch. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Even better. Nick, your biggest list growth moment.
Yeah, so hopefully our new product launch will surpass this one. But just like Isaac, Black Friday was big for us last year. But we actually did a leap year sale here at the end of February. And the promotion was a stronger offer than our Black Friday, but it was only for a day. However, we did treat our SMS channel in terms of, get early access. They got access the night before, as well as there was just a tighter window for consideration. So one thing we did also there is we paused SMS sales on leap year. And so they weren't doing any outreach. And so we ran all of our campaigns, ran SMS sales through there. And so we had a really strong day on leap year, but we had all this additional opportunity that we could clean up. And so on March 1st, SMS sales came back in and kind of angled these individuals in terms of like, hey, I noticed you were looking, but you didn't take advantage. I can get you a coupon code so you can get that belt offer, you can get that ring offer. So they were to come in and kind of get March off to a great start for us because we got some additional revenue numbers for people who were interested in the offer but didn't take advantage of it. So that was a fun kind of campaign that we put together there.
I love that.
And one thing to call out on that pop-up is, I didn't mention it with list growth, but a lot of us will go and capture emails and phone numbers. Be sure to think about like capturing. We've been doing some testing of like, hey, are you male or female? And then during the holidays, we were asking like, hey, are you buying for yourself or is this a gift? So we've kind of realized we're a gift heavy product during Father's Day, Christmas, those types of things. So capturing those little data points allow you to do some additional customization in your campaigns and email blasts as well. So just be thinking like those types of things that you can add into your forms when you're capturing that data.
Yes, I love that. You can use it in your flows. You can use it in future campaigns. Use that to get more information about your customer base and leverage that for future marketing efforts. All right, Bryce, biggest list growth moment.
Yeah, I would say Black Friday, Cyber season was huge. I think in particular, that week was our strongest week. Really cool, not like super surprising. I think what was very surprising to me was just the number of signups that we did get in the run up to that week, the first few days of the week. And then we had actually sent out an SMS campaign on Tuesday, or maybe Wednesday, 2 days before Black Friday. And that was our highest SMS campaign of the week. So for me, it's very cool because it really shows that we've nurtured this customer base into understanding that SMS gets offers first. They get offers that are often better than what we have on other channels. And also like that we can draw out revenue. And like, I think the value in that is we pulled up that revenue. And if we would have been competing for it on Friday across all the other brands, then we might have lost out on tons of it just left on the table. So saying that our strongest day during Black Friday week was actually Wednesday, our strongest campaign individually, is just like really huge and valuable, and means that we're able to kind of separate ourselves out, get a jump on things. People already know that a better offer isn't going to come on Friday. We're giving it to you on SMS right now. Take it, and then don't even worry about it on Friday. You'll get your stuff 2 days before everyone else, and you'll be happy with it. So just a really cool moment. I think I remember looking at that in November and being surprised by it. And I remember looking at it this week when we were preparing for this and being, again, like just delighted by it.
Love that it still is bringing delight. There have been a couple of times in the webinar today talking about that, like education and expectation setting. It's so important for the customer journey, and SMS is a great way because it's so direct to someone. They're going to see it. Great way to do that. I love how engaged everyone's been today. I want to sort of shift us into the Q&A portion. We also have talked a little bit about SMS sales, so I'm going to weave in one last question for Bryce on how you're leveraging SMS sales as part of that first step in a prospect or customer's journey with you, with a question that Davey also asked in the beginning around, do you have fun and engaging ways and campaigns that you've been seen success in converting new subscribers? So I'm kind of pulling two things together here to tee you up to talk a little bit more about SMS sales, which we've touched on today, and then shifting us into the Q&A portion. So for those of you who have questions, drop them in and we will try and get to as many as we can.
We use SMS sales, and I think like it really echoes something larger that we see of that. We, first of all, like cookware, you have cookware in your home. You might have bought a piece here or there. You might have been given pieces from family. But you probably don't have a ceramic cookware set. You probably don't have a non-toxic set. Most people who have things in their kitchen, it's very Teflon focused. And we really live and die off of the education that we're providing customers about how what our product does affects their body, compared to taking in chemicals, taking in stuff that like no one wants anything to do with. So SMS sales, and I think SMS in general, is just like a way that we can really do that. We can have like those very thoughtful conversations. Right now, like this week, we launched a whole new non-toxic series that we've never tried across SMS that will be a 3-part series. And we're telling customers on day one, hey, we're going to be talking about this week. Please stick along because we think we have a lot of valuable information for you in terms of toxicity and all of that, microplastics, tons of like just bad stuff that's in your kitchen right now. And the SMS sales team just like takes that, they run with it. They're so good about helping us extend our message. That was like a very scary onboarding for me because it is so, it's very like high consideration. We want to make sure that those messaging points are being executed accurately, fairly. We don't want to fear monger, but we do want to educate. So when we're talking about like handing that conversation off to a third party, which this can be anything. This can be like our influencer team. This can be our affiliate team. But on my team, it was the SMS sales team. And Postscript Sales has done such a good job of like just making it personal, making it very brand aligned, and like really continually focusing. If we see a conversation that's like, oh, that doesn't sound very like us, the adjustment is so fast. It's so just like considerate of like, okay, let's adjust. Let's figure out how we can message this correctly, fully, and encompass everything. And it's really helped customers in particular understand the value and really feel like they're being taken care of by us instead of just like, buy this pot, buy this pan. It's a bit more nuanced and special than that.
Yeah, it's hard to shop online. You want to ask your questions, you want to know. All right, let's grab another question from the Q&A. Thank you for that, Bryce. All right. Have you had any significant results in a pop-up A/B test that you can share? Full screen versus partial screen. And this came up in a few different questions. I know we're short on time, so I'll let each of you share A/B test learning, and then we will wrap for the day. Thanks to everyone for being so engaged. Let's start with Isaac. You want to grab this one?
Yeah. A/B stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'd shared, some A/B tests that we'd run. I know we just are running an amped test. We had no image, and then we are currently testing one with an image. And I don't know. It's just funny to me. Like I wouldn't have. I think Nick said it. Like, you see wins and things that you like wouldn't assume would be significant, but that just having that image has driven. I can't top of my head think through like what those specific metrics were, but we're seeing some increased just conversion rate with offering an image with the call out of the cash back versus just the text. So image has been a recent A/B test that we've done.
I love that. Bryce or Nick, there was the full versus partial screen question a couple of times. Have either of you tested that and have thoughts on it before we wrap?
I can jump in. I think it definitely depends on the brand. We do full. It seems to be like the way that people seem to click out of the partial faster. But that being said, like it's a combination of all factors. It's a combination of photo, it's a combination of copy, the offer. So I would just like test into it. If we drastically changed our offer that we're offering on the pop-up, I would then go back to square one and say like, okay, does partial work for this or not?
For sure.
Yeah, and I think over 90% of our traffic's mobile, so it's always full screen. So I think that's just one thing to keep in mind too, is like where your traffic's coming from. One interesting test we did, even from the images, we did a customer review instead of an image. So that was an interesting test. So that's just something I would throw that out to people to potentially try that as well.
I love that. Well, thank you everyone for being so engaged. I know we had many questions we didn't get to. Our marketing team will try and include answers in the recap. You will receive a recording of this event in your inbox. Bryce, Nick, Isaac, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully everyone now feels they've moved up the list growth expert curve in this past hour. Appreciate all the participation, and we will see you soon. Bye all.
Bye. Thank you.